Hi everyone, welcome to the workshop. We will wait for another few minutes and then we will start the session. Um, all right, Sudesh, hi Sudesh, Jaitka. We will definitely be answering your question on compatible and non-compatible food. So we will wait for another 3-4 minutes, 2-3 minutes, and then we'll start the session. Just waiting for everyone to join. Thanks for your question. So I'm going to show that question as well and start off with that. Okay. So today we have quite a big list of questions that we have got in our registration forms. So we will address that and we will give you a general guide on how to become fit and healthy in a natural and sustainable way. So welcome everyone to the workshop. Please ask your questions and share your health goals here in the live chat session. In the live chat section, yeah. Yeah, I've shared it here. All right. Okay. All right. So welcome everyone. We're waiting for another 2-3 minutes and then we'll start the workshop. I'm just compiling the questions in the live chat in the meanwhile. Okay. So the first question that we got was from Suresh Jedka. So we will answer that. Then the next question that we had was by Daisy, that is to reduce fat of lower body. How does that work, right? Okay. Got it. Okay, we will address that as well soon. All right. So let us start with the first we will just briefly address what is wrong with the current system, right? What is wrong with the current diet advice and why that does not work. Now, what happens is usually dietitians are going to give you food items which are low carb. Low carb is a very heavily propagated thing in our society right now among the nutritionist community, among the fitness coaches, right? Now, why does low carb work in a way and why is it not really sustainable? This is the first question that we will answer. And then I will come to your question, Suresh, which is compatibility of food items, right? And then we will move on progressively. So I'm going to just put this as a topic 1, which is why do nutritionists suggest low carb, why it works and why it's not sustainable. Why it works in Okay, so this is going to be the first topic of today, which is why do nutritionists suggest low carb, right? And why do we at Fit Galaxy not suggest this low carb kind of a diet? Now, low carb has many different meanings, right? Some people will say low carb is just you reduce the number of carbohydrates. Some people will say reduce refined carbohydrates, but you can have complex carbohydrates. Some people will say keto diet. Keto diet is absolute tyranny, like absolutely no carbs. Have it very less, like less than 5%, 10% of your calories should come from carbs. Now, the reason it works, right? The way to actually lose weight is ultimately that you start having natural traditional food items, because 100 years back, say even 200 years back, less than 1% of the population was either overweight or obese or even had any lifestyle disease. For example, we also got a question on thyroid this time. Same, the solution is actually exactly the same, and the reason for all of these diseases is all the same also. So the reason for obesity, the reason for thyroid, the reason for lifestyle diseases is basically moving away from from a natural lifestyle into a modern lifestyle. And modern lifestyle has packaged processed food items which are very high in refined carbohydrates. So this is the reason why when you remove refined carbohydrates basically will give us a huge insulin spike when we eat the refined carbohydrate. It will give you a very high intake of energy very fast. And if you are sedentary, you are not even using that energy anywhere. The cells have to use the energy for some exercise or some physical activity. Even mental activity burns energy, no doubt, but it's not comparable with physical activity. You need to have both. You need to have physical activity because your body is evolutionarily designed to respond best to natural actions. So your body's genes have are made in such a way that, what happens is, in evolution you will have survival of the fittest. So basically, if suppose a huge percentage of population was not doing exercise, their genes would have not gone, their genes would not have propagated. So all of us who are alive are the byproduct of absolutely amazing genetic lineage, because all of those people who won the genetic lineage, right, they have passed on the genes, and come to us. So basically, our genes also are going to respond in exactly the same way that our ancestors' genes were responding. That is the point number one to note, right? So if your genes are responding in the same way, then it's very important to know that you have to do same type of actions that our ancestors were taking. Now, what is that same type of action? It's basically a natural action. What is the difference between a traditional action and a modern action? You can take modern actions. See, you can do exercise, you can do push-ups, you can do burpees, you can do squat jumps, point-to-point running. These are not the same exercises which our ancestors were doing, but it will mimic the same movement patterns. It will give the same kind of boost. Your body will have a physical output of energy, which is very important. So suppose you're having all these sugar, and you're having refined carbohydrates. So all that refined carbohydrates, all that sugar basically leads to a lot of insulin spike and a lot of energy intake, and there is no energy expenditure. So all that energy basically gets stored as fat. So when a nutritionist says, let's do low carb, right, what ends up happening is that you automatically will get rid of a lot of those packaged processed food items by default if you are doing extremely low carb. Therefore, you'll start eating some things which are a little more natural. And also, when you have things which are higher in protein, when you have a high protein content in your diet, right, and when you have higher fat content in your diet, your body will feel slightly fuller. So that is why the low carb basically gives you some result for the short term. But the short term result is not what we want, because if you do this low carb, Indian diet and even usual diet across the world, carbohydrates make up 40%, 50% of your diet, right? We cannot give up things like roti, rice, puri, idli, dosa, even homemade biscuits is something that we are now propagating. We don't suggest digestive biscuits made from the market. We suggest homemade biscuits, right? We suggest sweets also, but made at home with jaggery and milk and all of these natural ingredients. So if you're having these homemade and natural ingredients, automatically you will have complex carbohydrates. All processed food items basically have a lot of refined carbohydrates, and the refined carbohydrate basically leads to insulin spike, it leads to energy storage and fat gain. So this is the reason why uh, low carb will work, because it's basically unnaturally making you eat a lot of protein, it's making you full, it's not giving you packaged processed food items because you're doing low carb. But if you start avoiding things like roti, if you start avoiding things like you're having oats instead of roti, suppose, right, you're not having aloo paratha, you're not having idli dosa, thinking that, oh, it's rice, it's going to make me fat, then that diet does not become sustainable. So we need our diet to be sustainable and long term, so that we don't lose that diet again, right? Once we know the principles, the workshop here is to basically make you aware and make you understand the exact logic and exactly what you have to do to get fit and healthy, right? So the logic is not low carb. The logic is no packaged processed food items, no refined carbohydrates. That is what will work in making sure that you do not put on fat. That is one principle, right? The second principle why packaged processed food items are completely to be avoided 100% of the time. Like a digestive biscuit, rusk, namkeen, dessert, chocolate, ice cream, cookies, cakes, all of this should be avoided 100% of the time. That is what we suggest, right? And this is something I follow myself. But at the same time, there are no limits on mangoes. There are no limits on aloo paratha. You can eat according to your hunger level. You don't need to think of portion control and things like this, right? Because if you eat 100% natural food items, your body's hunger level will keep itself under control. But if you are eating mangoes and aloo paratha, and once a day you are eating biscuit from outside, digestive biscuit, then your hunger level will no longer be controlled. So packaged processed food items are very dangerous in multiple ways. One is refined carbohydrates, which the logic I have given you. The second way they are dangerous is packaged processed food items have chemical preservatives, added sugar, artificial sweeteners, stabilizers, colors, flavors, all of this jazz, right? So much chemicals mixed into your food. So basically, there's an amazing article that we wrote almost 3-4 years back, which was that are you eating is this your favorite food items or just a bunch of chemicals that you're eating? So if you look at the ingredients list, you will see E321, E320, all of these things which you don't even know what they are. Something acid, something this, something that, right? Emulsifier, added colors, nature identical flavoring substances. All of these are known to cause things like digestive issues. They are known to cause things like ADHD. They are known to cause a lot of lifestyle diseases directly, right? They'll make you age much faster because basically your body is not required, it does not need all these food items, all these chemicals at all. It is a very foreign, it's like an attack on the body. Chalo, let us get these 10-15 chemicals, let us do this attack on the body, right? And with the attack on the body, chalo, let us see how much the body is immune. That is what we are doing if you are eating packaged processed food items. So the two reasons why packaged processed food items are bad, one is they all have refined carbohydrates, maida, they have a lot of added sugar. Artificial sweeteners are even more dangerous than sugar. So recently I went to a party, like my son's school friends and their parents had organized a party, right? So somebody was mentioning that, um, I'm giving everything sugar free. I'm doing chawan prash and all this also sugar free. I'm doing biscuits also sugar free. Sugar doesn't matter, right? But that is the wrong thinking. It's sugar free basically means it is going to have an artificial sweetener, and all these chemicals list which I told you is still going to be there, which is extremely dangerous for the body. Plus, it's going to have most of the things will be made in maida, which is refined flour. So it's going to be highly refined in any case, right? So just don't get fooled by looking at the labels. If it is packaged processed, if it is prepared in a way which is not made at home, if it is made in a factory or laboratory, do not ever have it. That is point number one, absolute point number one, right? So okay, so two points which we covered against packaged processed food items. One is, and we also answered why low carb is not sustainable, right? Low carb only works in a limited way, and then the weight comes back. And the reason it works also is because you get rid of refined carbohydrates, but you will still have all these chemical preservatives. You will still not have carbohydrates in your diet, which is the primary source of energy. So it is not sustainable. You will get back to a normal diet and then you will gain back all the weight. So the way to get your weight off in a healthy and sustainable way, that it does not come back and you don't have this weight issues, right? Weight issues is something nobody should have. Easily you can come to your ideal body weight. You can have high muscle mass, you can have low body fat, you can be fit, athletic, and full of energy, right? And the way to do it is by not doing low carb, but avoiding all packaged processed food items. The third reason packaged processed food items are very bad is because the hunger level does not get controlled. If you are eating 90% natural and you're eating packaged processed food items, you're going to have an issue, right? Even 10% packaged processed food items, even 5% will mess up that whole 95% food items also. It will mess up your hunger levels. It will mess up your hormones a lot. Because every time you eat even the 5% packaged processed food items, it's going to cause an insulin spike. It's like an attack of all the chemicals. 15 chemicals are attacking you. So your body is under chronic inflammation. Plus, all of these packaged processed food items are made of refined oil. So the refined oil is definitely going to cause inflammation. It's causing cholesterol, blood pressure issues. So very important to get rid of, packaged processed food items, and then eat a natural traditional food item. Don't worry about how much you are eating. Portion control is secondary to what you are eating. What you are eating is much more important than how much you are eating, right? Okay. So that is, one of the points that I've covered today. We had a question. Let me put that question here. Let me see. Okay. Got it. So the question was this one. I'm going to put it here. This question we got in the registration of the form. Let me just check where the question was from. This was by Daisy, right? Daisy had asked this question, that how do you lose lower body fat? And Sinmay, thanks for your question. You've just asked how to reduce belly fat, right? And Sinmay, and how to reduce lower body fat is by Daisy. I will be answering this question now. And then I will also answer the questions which have been asked previously, right? Geeta, okay, I got your question. The metal to be used in boiling, I will be answering this as well. Protein shake, I will be answering this, Varsha. I'll be answering your questions. Sudesh, which diet is required for avoiding muscle spasm? Okay, I'll answer that. We have a question by Daniel about paralysis. Okay, we will attempt to answer that as well and see what best. And I'll also make you understand the core principles around it, right? Okay. Varsha is asking about a protein shake or anything in particular. Okay, so we'll do this post-workout meal as a topic number 3, and we will do topic number 2, which is Sinmay, right? Which is how to reduce belly fat or how to reduce lower body fat, which Daisy had asked. All right. So we also have a good question from Paresh. Okay, I'll answer that after this, straight after this, Paresh. Okay, so how do you reduce belly fat? Now, see, there is no exercise. Firstly, we have to understand. If you look at YouTube, YouTube is basically algorithm based. So algorithm based, what happens is people, and we are also on YouTube, right? We are also on doing it on YouTube and all of these companies. So basically what happens is, in social media, you will try to answer the questions which are getting the most attention. So now if you look at the most attention grabbing question, and the way to convince a person is that, if you have to lose belly fat, let us do exercise of the core. Let's do belly exercises. And it makes intuitive logical sense. Ki, you will do exercise from there, it will burn fat from there. The reality is fat burning is proportionate throughout the body, and it is determined genetically. This is the very few things that are determined genetically. Even that is not too much determined genetically. I'll explain why. But most of the fat burning will happen throughout the body. It will be like 10% from your hands, 10% from your waist, 10% from whatever. It'll be going like that. So fat burning and calorie, because your calorie expenditure is happening throughout the body. Calorie expenditure is not happening just if you're doing this core exercises. Energy out is happening throughout the body. So this is a very key point to understand. But the muscle strengthening is happening locally, right? So muscle strengthening is happening locally wherever exercises you are doing, but your calorie expenditure is happening throughout the body. Okay. This is something that I'm just going to mention here. 1 second. Okay, we have got a few more questions which I will answer as well. Aruna, I got your question. Let me just arrange the topics, right? So now topic 2 is what we are discussing. Topic 3 is going to be about the supplements thing, right? And post-workout meal, post-workout, pre-workout meals is going to be topic 3. Okay. So yeah, back to our belly fat question, right? Now, the first thing that you have understood, I hope you have been able to understand this factor. Calorie burning is happening throughout the body. Muscle strengthening is happening wherever you're doing the exercise. So the way to get a flat belly is ultimately that you have to come to the correct body fat percentage. If you are at a higher body fat percentage, that excess fat might be there in your belly, it might be there in your hands, it might be there in your thighs. That portion is genetically determined. And for ladies, it's more, thighs and lower body, etc., and arms. For men, it's more belly fat. Plus, there are also basically principles like if you're taking a lot of stress will build up belly fat further, faster. So this will, environmental factors and all that will determine where your fat is stored. But the good part is, how do we reverse it? The good news is that once you come to ideal body fat, your arm fat will also go, leg fat will also go, it will be all proportionate to each other, and belly fat will also go. So you will get a flat belly. But don't expect a flat belly until you are at ideal body weight and ideal body fat percentage, both. You need high level of muscle mass, which basically means low level of body fat, and you need to be at ideal body weight. Then your belly fat will go. It might be that suppose you're 15 kgs overweight. Most of the fat is extra fat is there in your belly. Like you're thinking 75% I need to get rid of belly, 25% I can get rid of from everywhere else. But you can't do exercise of only belly, stomach exercises or core exercises and get that for 75% first. That will not work. You will have to get rid of all 15 kgs. Only then your belly fat will go. I hope that is clear to you, Sinmay. Sinmay, I think, is one of our clients from a long time. So we definitely like the question from you, Sinmay, and it's great to be able to answer this question because a lot of people have this question. So how do you lose overall 15 kgs or 10 kgs or whatever to come to your ideal body weight? How do you lose it? Same principles. Eat 100% natural traditional food items, no packaged processed food items, avoid completely. Start exercising because exercise is the second part of the equation. First part is you are eating natural traditional food items, which will control your hunger level, which will give you full nourishment and nutrition. And we had another question, which I will quickly address in this. The question was in our this thing. Let me mention that question here. Question was around feeling tired, right? After doing exercise. So if you're doing exercise in the morning, I think this was Gautaman who had asked the question. Let me mention this. Question by Gautaman. I'm sharing the question for all of you. Okay. So question by Gautamani was that she feels she feels tired the whole day after doing exercise in the morning. This makes you less productive at work, unable to do consistent exercise. So yes, see, two parts of the equation. If you eat packaged processed food items, even if you're getting enough calories, you will not be able to recover from exercise. Point number one. So you have to eat natural food items, right? What is natural food items? The things that our ancestors used to make and eat. And you have to also cook it in the same way. Don't use things like air fryer. Don't use things like microwave. Use kadhais, right? Cast iron kadhai is what we suggest, or clay is what we suggest. These are our number one and two. And we had this question on the group recently that what should we use cast iron is also sometimes shown that it may cause some digestive issues. But on that research, right, on the research front, the issues caused by it are very, very negligible and very, 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 very rare, right? So it is nothing to be worried about, really, right? Iron in the body is actually good. It's good to have a little more iron in the body because a lot of people are suffering from anemia and things like that. So cast iron is absolutely fine. Clay is absolutely fine. But you need to take care of the cast iron. You need to take care of the iron kadai. It should not rust under any circumstances. You can put ghee around it. It should be coated. Cast iron basically means it is already coated. It's coming already coated. But we need to maintain it also, right? We need to wash it regularly. Don't put acidic medium too much on it. That is the typical suggestion. So if you're putting nimbu and cooking, etc., then cook in clay. is what we would ideally suggest. The third choice is steel, right? But don't go for aluminum. Steel is still fine, but reason we are little bit dicey on steel is that steel is ultimately a new and man-made metal, at least in industrial production. It might have existed previously, but industrially it is derived from iron. And whenever something is new and man-made, including any supplement or whey protein or anything, it always has side effects. And these side effects will never come out in the current research. They'll always come out in later research. So we should always cover all the bases. We should always think ahead, right? For example, you had baby powder, which a long time back was considered safe. A lot of people used it. Now it's leading to things like cancer. Now you get to know after 20 years when people have already used it. So there's no point of looking for something absolutely modern. This is the reason we would not suggest air frying also. Again, it's a little bit of a modern technology. You don't know. The current research says it is fine. Current research says whey protein is also fine. Of course, see, current research will also say that packaged processed food items are fine as long as it is approved by the regulatory authority. But we know in that at least there is research which shows that beyond certain quantity, everything goes wrong. But why to even have that certain quantity? And usually the quantity that people say is okay is not really okay by itself. Actually, it is too much. So yeah, like the question from Gautami, the answer to that is really, if you're feeling tired after exercise, it's because you're not having 100% natural food items. Second reason could be you're having packaged processed food items, and the second reason could be you're not sleeping enough. This is a factor that we see, right? You're not getting sunlight. You're sitting indoors throughout the day, thinking that you'll get tanned or whatever. Like there could be 1,000 reasons. Maybe your work is indoors. So sleep and sunlight cycle is very important for natural energy level also, but also very important for recovering from exercise, because all the nutrients will go into the body aided by hormones. So all the hormones will work correctly only when you get good sleep, on time sleep, right? Not that you wake up with an alarm, but you sleep early and wake up naturally without an alarm. And then you get a lot of sunlight through the day, minimum 1 hour of sunlight. Only then your hormones will work correctly. And then the nutrition, if you are eating good nutrition, firstly, if you're eating natural food items, then it will help you recover from the exercise. So you won't feel, you won't feel tired. That's the answer to that question. Okay. Now we were answering about, yes, I think the belly fat question we have answered, right? So we'll move on to our third topic. But before that, I will just take a few questions first, the questions that we have got. So the first question was by Sudesh Jedka, yes, about non-compatible food, right? So see, whatever is a traditional practice is what we would suggest on compatibility, right? Follow it very strictly. If it's a traditional practice, follow it strictly. Now, traditional practices are what? Usually fruits are eaten separate from food. Your lunch, dinner, and breakfast should be at least 1 hour before or after fruits. There should be a 1 hour gap. That is more or less the compatibility thing that we suggest. We don't suggest anything beyond that, right? Of course, don't have very odd combinations. Actually, odd combinations will come only when you have a lot of fruits. The second thing is about fruits that I want to mention. It's not really about compatibility, but don't have cut fruits. If you cut fruits and then take to the office by 4 o'clock, if you're cutting it at 9 o'clock in the morning, or you're making a juice and putting in the fridge, it's going to lose all the nutrient value completely. So always have things fresh. Cooking should also be fresh, right? You have cooked something, then you have eaten it as much as possible. Don't try to do the storage phenomenon. The storage phenomenon is very common in foreign countries, and now because of better freezers and fridges, we are also starting to adopt it. But anything that is put in cold storage will not have the same nutritive value. If you pluck a fruit from a tree and then you leave it for 2 days in cold storage and then you have it, it's going to have much lower nutritive value. So where I used to stay previously in Delhi, we had a jamun tree outside, and I and my brother used to keep breaking and eat it fresh. The taste was unimaginably good. And the jamun that you get usually in Delhi or any other city as well, right? Metro city, is nowhere, like the taste is nowhere close to what you get when you actually pluck it from the tree. So the taste is basically telling you that this is very good for you. Jamuns are something that we highly recommend right now. It's going to come, I think, in probably 1 month or so. I'm not sure. In summer season, basically it comes, right? Mangoes, jamuns, heavily, right? Go for it. Jamun has anthocyanin, which is the thing which gives it the color, the purple color. That's an antioxidant. It's really, really good for health. It'll make you feel younger, look younger, and it'll, wipe out all the toxins that you're fighting. If you're eating packaged processed food items, it'll basically give you a boost in fighting all of that. Even mangoes, all fruits, if they are natural, and try to get fruits organic as much as possible. Don't have fruits with pesticides, etc. And wherever you can get it fresh from the farm, try to get that. It makes a very, very big difference, like 50%, 100% better taste, right? But a lot, that taste is basically your body telling you that what are you eating, why are you eating this market jamun which is so horrible tasting, right? So try to get that natural thing as much as possible wherever you get it from, right? Okay, so this was about compatibility. Mostly it's about fruits that we mentioned. And of course, don't have milk just after food. Don't have dahi. Just dahi is fine, right? But milk is something that you should again give a gap before and after. Those are the two things that we suggest on compatibility. Okay, and let me see a few more questions, then I'll move to the third topic. So we had a question by Varsha, which was how to tone and lose body fat and glutes. Is exercise required? Yeah, so exercise is required, but not for the reason that you're thinking that, if I do exercise of the thighs, I will lose thigh fat. You need exercise to burn calories, and the calories will burn throughout the body, including the thighs and glutes, once you hit the ideal body weight. So exercise is very important because overall your body works best when you follow natural and traditional principles. In natural traditional principles, one is you would eat natural food items. Second is you would be very physically active throughout the day. So that physically active throughout the day part, everyone tries to forget, right? So that is also a very critical portion. It's not that you can just eat aloo parathas and and be absolutely fit. If you eat natural food items, of course, you are limiting the damage to the body, and you will not gain fat. Even if you don't exercise for some time, suppose you have been exercising and you don't exercise for some time, then it's not that your body will start accumulating a lot of fat very easily. Your appetite will go down if you eat natural food items. But if you're exercising heavily every day, if you're doing a lot of exercise every day, then your hunger level is directly proportionate to exercise. And exercise will make sure that the calorie expenditure side of the equation, which is part of the metabolism, right? Metabolism has two sides: calorie intake, calorie expenditure. So both have to work equally well. Only then the body is sustainably fit and healthy, right? So is exercise required? It is required to to burn calories, to keep your metabolism fine, to get you to the ideal body weight, to work in conjunction with natural food items. Both sides of the equation are very important, along with the lifestyle factors of sleep, sunlight, motivation, lack of stress, setting your goals, going after your goals, having high energy. All of that stuff, having high energy, having productivity, all of that stuff will be a byproduct of all these five key factors that we mentioned, which is nutrition, exercise, sleep, sunlight, and motivation. Get those five in accordance with natural and traditional principles, and your work will be really done. Whether it is fat loss, whether it is muscle building, whether it's reversing lifestyle diseases, all of that is very, very easily achievable. 6 months max, right? Any lifestyle disease you should be able to reverse. Any body fat which is there in belly, in thighs, glutes, you would be able to reverse. But for all of these 6 months and beyond that also, you have to make it a lifestyle that you don't have packaged processed food items. That's most important. Because if you continue having that, it will, including sweets, including market sweets, etc., that will basically disrupt the whole flow. It will disrupt the whole equation. Then you have to sit and count calories because hunger level gets disturbed by unnatural food items and unnatural practices, right? Okay. For example, as an example, if you sleep late, it's an unnatural practice because traditionally electricity was not there. So it used to get dark, melatonin hormone used to release, we used to feel sleepy, and we used to sleep. Traditionally, there was no alarm. Of course, birds would chirp, etc., but that's a very natural way of waking up, because you have already slept early. You would wake up naturally once your body has fully recovered, not with an alarm, with a jhatka, right? With like a complete sudden shock. So you would wake up naturally without an alarm. You would get into sunlight, and you would do physical activity in sunlight. So any of these factors, if you miss out, then your becoming totally fit and healthy is very difficult. But if you follow all these practices, which are very easy to follow, they are not difficult. It's basically understanding that you have to eat natural food items. And in our plan and in our recommendations, which is in a natural lifestyle, you can have aloo parathas, you can have mangoes, you can have spices, you can have ghee, you can have gajar ka halwa, if you make it at home with ghee and jaggery. If you make it at home, that is the key point, right? You can have all this. Of course, if you're losing fat, initially we would say, okay, avoid that for a limited time. But in a natural, sustainable, long-term diet, you would include all of these things. And mangoes, bananas, jamuns, all of this stuff is 100% to be included. Whether you are losing fat, whether you're building muscle, does not matter at all. It will not make you, put on fat, anything like that. Okay. So I think I've answered the question from Varsha. Let me see the metal question by Geeta. I think I've answered the question on metal. But for milk boiling, I would have to research it specifically, Geeta. But it is basically the same things that we do suggest, right? Milk and curd, definitely there is one thing that if you do it in clay, there's definitely going to be a very good impact. Otherwise, you can do steel. Steel is a known thing. In current research, it's supposed to be good. But the reason we are against steel is because, like I said, it's a modern method of preparation. Steel is derived from iron only around 200 years back. Before that, people were not cooking in steel, at least at large scale, right? At least in an industrialized steel. So that's the reason. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, go for pick your things between clay, ideally, or steel, right? Iron is something that you can also do, cast iron. But again, on cast iron, there are questions around, is it going to leak into the thing? Is the iron going to go too high? But from our research, it is shown that question, is iron going to be detrimental to me? Is it going to leach into the food? That is not a very big factor. It does not happen much, and it's very, 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 very rare. Like, it's only if you have some existing condition that we would say don't have iron cookware. But apart from that, cast iron, clay is what we would suggest. Yeah. Food supplements is our third topic, Geeta. That's also your question. If we have published scientific research against food supplements, I will share that also. Yeah. But let me explain about scientific research as well, and I'll explain about supplements. This is going to be our okay. We'll make this the topic 3, and then I'll come to pre-workout and post-workout meals. Yeah. So let me mention this. Let me see who else has asked about supplements. I'll just put that into. Okay, Tanvi's question is there, which is, despite eating healthy and even taking supplements with regular exercise, I end up being anemic and experiencing fatigue. My therapist suggested that it's due to psychological issues. Okay, so Tanvi, most of the things like psychological issues, etc., right? It's known that physical activity is going to benefit you. Try to do that physical activity. I know you're doing regular exercise, but try to do it in sunlight. Secondly, make sure your sleep cycle is very well regulated, because sleep has very big impact on mood, very big impact on fatigue, everything that you're mentioning here. So if your sleep is absolutely sound and you're getting sunlight, and then you're exercising, and then you're eating natural food items to give you all the energy, you don't need to have supplements, right? Supplements may actually be hindering you. In supplements, there is always a danger of overdose, which does not exist naturally. Supplements are never absorbed as easily into the body as natural food items, because natural food items have a lot of cofactors. Cofactors are vitamins, minerals working together. For example, whole milk is much better than skim milk, because in whole milk you have fat, which is natural, and you have vitamins A, D, E, K, which are fat soluble vitamins. So nature has made it in such a way that the fat is there and the minerals, vitamins are there. Everything will get digested very nicely into the body. Now, if you do skim milk in the name of trying to lose weight, you don't have that fat, and all those vitamins, minerals don't get absorbed properly. So that is why supplements are not good. One of the reasons is that it never gets absorbed properly. There are issues with overdosing. There are issues with it being unnatural ultimately. And later on, there could be side effects. Right now, there is no side effect shown, right? At least the legal supplements and the known supplements like whey protein. The current research shows that it is fine to have, but we do not suggest it. Yeah. Okay. Sudesh, milk compatibility with other foods is fine. Like I said, I think I've answered this question that if you have milk, again, keep it a little separate from everything else. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to, okay, we've got a good compliment by Praveen. Thank you. Thank you, Praveen. All right. So we're going to come to the third factor, which was on supplements. Let me see who had asked about supplements. I'll highlight that. 1 second. And Paresh has asked a question. I'll come to your question. If this is from our first topic, right? If that is the case, why do why do they nutritionists suggest to stop wheat, rice, cereals, and sugar? Because they don't know the state of nutritionists in India and the nutrition industry in the world also, right? Is that most of the, and this will lead into my question with the next topic 3, which is supplements, right? The question is very it'll basically give us the answer to the supplement question also. Nutritionists and research, the reason they suggest stop this, have this, most of it is due to published research, and most of the research is done by pharma plus industry, which is pharma companies, food manufacturers, which is industrial food manufacturers, and supplement manufacturers. So for a supplement person, and this will also answer the post-workout, pre-workout question by Varsha. Post-workout meal, should we have protein shake or anything particular? Again, this question, and the supplements question, all of them have the same answer. Now, supplements is something which we have to understand what is driving the research, which is saying have this supplement. In India, what do people say? That suppose you are a vegetarian. Okay, you need 100 grams of protein, even though you're 70 kgs, because it has to be 1.2, 1.3, or 2 times if you're an athlete. And suppose you're vegetarian, then they will say, okay, you know what, you can get only 60, 70 grams from food, natural food. That too, if you have paneer and dal and besan ka chila and all these things continuously. So therefore, what they will say is that you need 30 grams. So therefore, very conveniently, whey protein scoop will give you 24 grams or 25 grams of protein. So yes, you have one whey protein every day. It's good for health. Your protein requirement will be met. Therefore, that is how you will stay fit and healthy. That is their analysis of the situation. Then what is another analysis of the situation? Oh, you know what, you need to have pre-workout because you need a lot of energy, otherwise you can't do exercise. Again, same issue, right? The issue is you're feeling lethargic. It's because you're not eating natural food items. It's because you're not getting enough sleep, you're not getting enough sunlight. The issue is not that you need to stuff yourself with something else to give you instant caffeine and instant energy just before. The energy should be there on demand whenever you want it. That is how a natural sustainable lifestyle has to be, right? I have not had some pre-workout thing to do this session with you guys. Right? My energy, I can bring it out explosively anytime I want, on demand. I can do any exercise anytime I want. That is how you have to be, right? To get to that level of energy out and expenditure and productivity, you need to follow a consistently natural lifestyle, which involves multiple facets: nutrition, exercise, sleep, sunlight, motivation. Everything has to be set. Then you will be able to come to that. You don't need pre-workouts, you don't need post-workouts. Post-workout, you don't need supplements at all. It is all research which is driven by companies which will benefit from you taking that amount. People were vegetarian in India for a lot of time. People were non-veg also. Both were surviving and both were absolutely fit, right? So this 2-3% difference will not make any difference in really in your health and fitness. You do not need, unlike what celebrities are promoting, that you need to have this protein shake, you need to have this plant protein, you need to have this whey protein, you need to have this, otherwise you can't stay fit. That is not true at all. This is classic marketing 101. uh, make a demand for something which does not really exist. And the same thing was done by cereal companies. Somebody has asked about cereals, this previous question, right? um, yeah. So cereals is something we are totally against. Muesli, cornflakes, absolute junk. Junk them, throw them into the dustbin. All of them are full of packaged. They're all packaged process. They are made in an industrialized method of preparation. A natural method of preparation will involve like an atta. You will take the आटा, while making the roti you will knead the आटा, which is गूंदो the आटा. ठीक है, आटे को गूंदते हैं जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं, right? And you knead the आटा and then you let it be for 1 hour. It's going to ferment. It's going to get rid of anti-nutrient called phytic acid, and it's going to get rid of gluten issues. And that is how you would traditionally eat it. And traditionally people used to have khamiri roti. They used to keep it out for 8 hours overnight. This is something that I had also started doing for a long time. Recently, I have not been doing it because our cook is, changing and all that. So, but it's something that tastes amazing. The roti will become slightly sour. Knead the atta with water and dahi and keep it out for 8 hours or overnight and at room temperature. Next day, when you cook with it, it will have a slight sour taste, but the roti has got fermented. Suppose you don't do this 8 hours overnight, even 1 hour if you do, it's much better because the phytic acid content will go down, the gluten issues will go down. You think the wheat flakes and corn flakes and muesli people are going to do this fermentation? They will take the atta straight away, put it into an industry, wash it with all kinds of chemicals, give it some consistency, make it crisp, do high heating, all the nutrition values will be gone. They'll put 15-20 chemicals, the fighting chemicals, right? All those chemicals will come in, your body will start fighting against them, you'll have chronic inflammation. They will cook everything in refined oil, and then you're going to think that it's good for us, right? So avoid that. Avoid all supplements. You don't need to have pre-workout, you don't need to have pro-workout, post-workout, anything. And that comes to my topic of, so I think we've covered 3 topics, which is the supplement topic I've covered. There's a question on intermittent fasting which I will cover, right? Because it is kind of related to this post-workout, pre-workout, what should we eat. Let me see who had asked the question on intermittent fasting. Let me see, where is it? Just a second. So just checking. Okay. Do we need to adopt 14 to 16 hours of intermittent fasting is by Paresh Joshi. All right. Okay. And Rani also has asked about belly fat, right? So belly fat I've covered. Paresh, I'm going to answer, which is, do you need intermittent fasting? So out of all the diets, we are totally against keto. We're totally against any restriction of carbohydrates. But intermittent fasting is one thing, which is not a diet. It is just a lifestyle. And it is something that we do recommend because it is basically same thing what our ancestors were naturally doing. The cereal manufacturers, we need to understand that to understand why we suggest intermittent fasting. Cereal manufacturers like this cornflakes, muesli, all of these people in 60s, 70s. This is something that you should all Google after this, right? And share it on the group or share it with me directly if you find this research. Now, what was done was that people were not having, there was nothing called a breakfast. People were not having breakfast, such like cereals and all this was not existent in any case. So they did marketing which said that, oh, you know what? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This marketing and this slogan and the American breakfast, which has now made its way to India also, in the name of being healthy, seeds and nuts, and you have muesli and all this. It is not a traditional Indian breakfast. This was actually considered dog food before, right? Crackers and all this was made for dogs. The marketing was done in such a way that it has become so popular in India also and in foreign countries that it's become like a staple diet. And breakfast has somehow become seen as the most important meal of the day. The second thing which is related to this is people say you should eat every 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, even one of the famous nutritionists who is very good, Rujuta Devekar, right? We follow, like, a lot of her concepts are correct. Eat natural traditional food items, do exercise, sleep, right? I don't know about whether she talks about sunlight or alarm. But where she is, like, we disagree with her very strongly, with anyone, is that they say that have food every 2 to 3 hours, it will boost up your metabolism. That is not good for us because your digestive system needs a break. Metabolism is all the chemical reactions in the body, whether it's energy intake, energy expenditure, everything. So we need energy intake, we need energy expenditure. So suppose you are continuously eating every 2 3 hours, obviously your metabolism is higher because you are constantly breaking down food, but that is not the way to increase metabolism in a natural way. Your body needs, the digestive system needs a break. The way to increase it in a natural way, metabolism, is that you start doing exercise and you eat natural traditional food items and you eat according to your hunger level. Give gaps. And the best way to give gap, one is eat according to your hunger level. Second is the best way to do intermittent fasting, which is natural, which our ancestors actually used to follow. Before this, breakfast is the most important meal of the day concept came. The best way of actually doing it is that you eat your dinner early. Eat dinner at 7:30 p.m. Okay, and once you have dinner at 7:30 p.m., you will give a 2 to 3 hours of gap. Wake up naturally without an alarm, and that's how you will actually get totally fit and healthy, right? Because you have set, this is how you will do a natural form of intermittent fasting. You have eaten dinner early, you have woken up without an alarm, you have slept early, 10:30 p.m. All your hormones will be under control with this. You will be able to recover from all the exercises you have done. If you're not able to recover, provided you're eating natural food and provided you have slept enough hours and you're getting sunlight and all of the other factors, right? If you take a look at a lot of screen time, then also it's really bad for you. Just as a side note, for exercise recovery, you will not be able to recover as well if you look at screen time. So a lot of these top level coaches of sports teams nowadays, they are taking away the phone from the people who are fighting. So fighting matlab, in UFC is something that they do this in. And I think even our badminton player who's very famous, I forget her name, um, she also, right, from Hyderabad. So I think her coach is Gopi Chand. So Gopi Chand used to take away her phone while she used to be preparing for competition for six months in the first attempt, first thing when she got, I think, silver. So silver, or I think gold as well. I don't really remember, but I'm actually heavily into badminton. Somehow I'm not able to remember exactly her name. Comment in the comments if you remember her name. Yeah. So basically, screen time and all of these things are not good. And a lot of these things will take care of themselves if we follow this routine. Eat dinner early, wake up naturally without an alarm. Not Saina Nehwal, Itishri. Let me just Google who the other person is. Indian badminton player. How can I forget? PV Sindhu. Yeah, PV Sindhu. Fantastic badminton player, right? So her coach used to basically make her, which is Gopi Chand, used to make her stay away from the phone for a long time. And that's how she, other people are looking at the phone, their recovery is not as good. And PV Sindhu is not looking at the phone, going all out, dedicated, exercising, doing a lot of physical activity as well, playing a lot of badminton. Nutrition was also dialed in pretty well, I'm sure, right? So all of these factors really make a difference, even at competitive levels and even for us to stay healthy and productive. Yeah. Sania Mirza is, of course, in tennis. So we're talking, the correct answer is by Pooja Sharma, which is PV Sindhu, right? Good. Cool. So intermittent fasting, we were talking about intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is good. The way to do it is eat early, eat dinner early, wake up naturally without an alarm, and then go to the bathroom, get ready, right? Be empty stomach. But then after that, do exercise. Don't eat first. Exercise first. So this concept of pre-workout is not required. You just have water pre-workout. That's good enough. You don't need to have banana 30 minutes before. You don't need to have whey protein within the 45 minutes after doing the exercise. All that is not required. Follow your hunger level after that. But if you want to lose fat really fast, right? If you want to lose fat really fast, if you do this fasting, basically it's a natural fasting. You're not even fasting. You're just eating dinner early and waking up, getting ready, empty stomach, and then doing exercise. You would end up doing exercise at around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Automatically, you have given what? You have given at least 13, 14, 15 hours of gap. And then if you eat your breakfast slightly later, maybe 10, 10:30, 11, that's it. You have given it a 14, 15 hours of gap. And when you're doing, the best part is when you're doing exercise, one is you will have full energy level because you have slept early, you're woken up naturally without an alarm, and and we suggest to do exercise outdoors. So it is totally a natural form of doing exercise because our ancestors used to be doing this, right? Ancestors used to wake up, they used to, the drive, the hunger level would lead them to do exercise and physical activity even better. So if you get used to doing exercise without eating anything, with eating just having just water, right? Then all your calories burnt are coming from fat. It's not coming from stored food. So that's why you would end up burning fat really fast. And it's also a natural form of intermittent fasting. It's also a natural form of fast burning fat. So it has a lot of benefits. It maintains your routine, maintains your hormones. You're sleeping on time, you're eating dinner early, you're giving a gap. If you don't give 2.5 3 hours of gap between dinner and sleep, you will end up with acid reflux. And people have all kinds of acid reflux medicines which are very, very bad for health. So all of these medicines are some things that we want you to totally avoid. All supplements, all medicines. But to get to that point, you have to follow natural traditional lifestyle. Okay? So I hope that has been clear to everybody. So I would also suggest to all of you that if you want to get fit in a completely natural and healthy manner, natural and sustainable way, and you want guidance for it, you want step-by-step guidance with your own nutritionist and fitness coach, we have a subscription plan. We have a 3 months plan, which is for 3,999, a 6 months plan, which is for 5,500, and a 12 months plan, which is for 7,999. But the prices is going to rise for the 12 months plan, especially. And the plan basically has a nutritionist assigned to you from Fit Galaxy team. They are highly qualified MSc nutrition and fitness coach certified ones, and they have been trained by me on top a lot, right? Because usually nutritionist fitness coaches in India, they will like to follow their low carb stuff and all that. So we have done a lot of retraining. We make sure that they understand Fit Galaxy principles, that they are implementing it on themselves also, and they are getting results. Most importantly, they're helping you implement the principles one by one. So they'll make a customized nutrition plan for you, customized exercise plan for you with the exercise videos. You'll also have a third coach who is a yoga coach, who is Komal from our team. And those sessions are live yoga sessions, live online group sessions are done in the morning and evening, 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. for 1 hour. So you have three coaches. You have a nutritionist, fitness coach, and yoga coach. Nutritionist and fitness coach work with you one-on-one. Yoga coach works with a group. And but even in the group, she will see you doing exercise, yoga, and she will make sure that you're doing it correctly, and she will show you how to do this things also. So the ideal thing we suggest is take the plan and follow exactly what you're saying, because you will get results in a time bound way. So whether you want to lose weight, usually we are able to lose 3 kgs per month, and 6 months usually you should be able to achieve ideal body weight, including maybe 12 to 15 kgs of fat loss. And this will be permanent. It's not going to be something that, and it's going to be a lifestyle, no crash diets, nothing. And building muscle will be simultaneously done. Reversing any lifestyle disease, PCOD, PCOS, thyroid, diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure issues, would all take around 6 months to 1 year. So I would suggest minimum 6 months time for that, and it will be done in a completely natural way. We have more than now 2.5 lakh users on our Android app, on Fit Galaxy's Android app, and a lot of people now on our WhatsApp groups which we have started. And definitely we look forward to helping you get fit and healthy in a natural way, in a guided way. So anyone who wants to go for the plan, check out www.fitgalaxy.in. I'm mentioning it in the comments, and I will just show it here as well. right? So anyone who wants to start the plan, reach out, and you have my number as well on the groups. Otherwise, I'll share it here. So we keep sharing health tips. Ideally, we're trying to do one per day, but maybe one in every 2 to 3 days is what we're able to really take out. And we will have these live workshops again. We have these almost every week, once or twice a week, on different topics. Definitely reach out to me if you want to start the plan. All other questions we will answer in the next session. So I'm noting down the questions and we will answer them as well. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending. Bye.